Hello. Today we'll be talking about the nutrition that is designed for me and how can I get the most out of the foods I eat. I am Dr. Bibi Burcu Beba. I'm a doctor of clinical nutrition, and here I meet with you every week with a series that we designed with the Global HR Summit team. So I hope you will enjoy today's topic. So let's start. Last week, we talked about the journey inwards. What makes me me? Am I made of the systems, my microbiome, genes, epigenetics, my lifestyle, habits, environment, and the people, my emotions, energy levels, everything that gets together and makes me me. And the nutrients that feed us as well, the big guys, the macronutrients, the carbs, proteins, and fats, micronutrients, the small but mighty ones. These are the vitamins, minerals, the phytonutrients, the plant nutrients. I'll be talking about this plant nutrients a lot. Fiber, water, these are all the nutrients that we need. And also our digestion. We are not what we eat. Contrary to what most people say, we are what we absorb. So it is the crucial part is absorbing all those nutrients into our cells. And we have three helpers here: the stomach acid, the bile, and the enzymes. If you're curious about all those, go back to last week's video and make sure to grasp all those points. So today we'll be talking about nutrition, but nutrition for different purposes. The first one I want to talk about is nutrition for energy, to get the cellular and the vital energy, and consuming the correct foods to supply the continuous energy throughout the day. I'm not only talking about our muscles that running around and getting things done, but also how our cells operate, because our cells needs that cellular energy that is called the ATP to function, to get rid of the toxins, to repair themselves, to make new cells. So we need that continuous energy also for our brain power as well. And we also need to balance our blood sugar to get that continuous energy. We talked about the blood sugar previously a little bit, but we need a stable blood sugar throughout the day for the best energy levels. And for this, we need to balance our carbs, our proteins, and fats. Because carbs turn into sugar in the body, and the sugar is like burning the paper. You will get a lot of energy. It's almost it burns into flames, but then it dies very quickly. And we need the wood for that fuel, which is our, let's say, proteins. And we also need the coal, even the longer lasting material for the fuel for the this energy, which is kind of corresponds to our fat intake. So we need to balance our blood sugar with the correct carb and the protein and the fats, and also all those the micro minerals, micronutrients that are minerals, vitamins, and phytonutrients, plus the water and the fiber to balance it. And feeding our mitochondria is super important as well, because mitochondria is our powerhouse. Inside each of the cell, we have this organelle, almost like the organ of the cell, that is called mitochondria. And mitochondria makes the energy of the cell. And we need to feed our mitochondria, and we need to have the healthiest mitochondria to have the best energy throughout our day and throughout our lives. So what feeds our mitochondria? Phytonutrients, plant nutrients. I told you we'll be talking about the phytonutrients a lot. Vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin E, intermittent fasting, also calorie restriction, and regular fasting also helps with feeding and nourishing our mitochondria. Ketogenic diets also help with the mitochondria health. Also exercise, lowering our toxins are other couple tips that would help us to feed our mitochondria and make sure that we're getting the best nutrition for our energy levels. We can also feed ourselves and get the nutrition for our genes. What are your genetic inclinations? Do you have certain genetic variations based on your gene maps or gene reports? For example, I have a tendency for type 2 diabetes, which basically says that I have to be more careful for that, like type 2 diabetes, than a person who doesn't have the genetic tendency. So I need to control my carb intake. I need to make sure that I'm getting enough fiber, and enough and balanced proteins and fats, and not much refined carbs. So everybody is different, but just because you have something in your genetic report doesn't mean that you're gonna have that problem or that health issue. We have something called epigenetics, and epigenetics is our DNA helix and all those proteins around our DNA. So all those proteins and our DNA together make our epigenetics. And think of it as like the switches on the lights. You can turn your genes on or off based on your lifestyle, based on your nutrition. So the correct foods can actually help your body to present some of the health problems or to prevent some of the health problems that could be in your genes. Foods and genes actually interact bidirectionally. So genes interact the foods, could be the food absorption, how well you metabolize some of the foods, and the foods can impact your genes in the epigenetic level. Also, your detox capacity, how you create your energy or metabolize your energy, how you manage your hormones, can also be impacted by your genetic tendencies, therefore can be impacted by nutrition as well. So if you have a genetic report, awesome, you can look at that genetic report and you can impact it in a way that you do not present some of the health issues there through correct nutrition. Well, this nutrition for microbiome is like a whole different topic. We can have the whole presentation on that one, like whole video on that one. We need to keep these guys, our bacteria, healthy and happy, because like those bacteria, they are 10 times the amount of our cells. If we're looking at the bacterial DNA, they're actually 100 times amount of our cells. So it is like we're a huge colony of bacteria, and our health depends on them. How balanced they are, how healthy they are, how happy they are, because they're the good ones, bad ones, and the opportunistic ones, and we need to keep them in balance. And what do they tell me? Look at your symptoms. Like, are they happy? Are they like telling you that like they're not happy with all the symptoms like gas, bloating, indigestion? Look at your digestive symptoms. Do you have anxiety, depression? Do you have any autoimmune diseases that could be impacted by imbalances in your microbiome? We have things called prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. So prebiotics are actually the food of our bacteria. These are healthy fibers that our bacteria munches on and grows bigger and better, which makes us healthier. So prebiotic fibers like leeks have an amazing amount of prebiotic fibers, onions, Jerusalem artichokes. Most of the fibers would be helping our bacteria to get healthy. So they would be having a lot of prebiotic fibers. Probiotics are actually alive bacteria that we're sending inside. Of course, like compared to the amount of bacteria we have, they're like tiny bit like that we're sending inside, but they can still help to seed the good guys or help to support the good guys. We can take probiotic supplements. We have different probiotic bacteria families that would help. Like we can get a different variety of them. Each family would work for different purposes as well. Or we can get them through foods, through yogurt, through fermented foods, through kombucha, kimchi, and things like that. And there's also something called postbiotic. Post means after, right? Postbiotics are the things our bacteria makes, and that has certain health benefits. So our bacteria makes certain vitamins. They make things like short chain fatty acids like butyrate that has tremendous health benefits. So all those things we need to be in our optimal health, like, both prebiotics and probiotics and postbiotics. When our bacteria is happy and healthy, we have the optimal balance. So make sure to modify your nutrition for your microbiome as well. And of course, nutrition for health conditions. Somebody who is having cardiovascular issues would be having a different nutritional plan than somebody who is having maybe like an autoimmune condition. So every health condition needs a different nutrition plan, both in a way that they can digest and absorb, because like some health conditions, when you're in the active or flare states, you may not be having certain fibers, you may not be having high amount of proteins, or they may not, like, you may not be having animal proteins, depending on the health conditions. Also, correct nutrition plan is needed for either helping to ease the symptoms, or sometimes reversing or preventing certain health conditions. So nutrition plan needs to be created based on those health conditions. Of course, after a very detailed health history. Usually my health history in my sessions last half an hour to 90 minutes. So it needs to be very detailed, not only your health conditions, but your family's health conditions, all the medications, all the symptoms. And we need to make sure that we are not leaving any stone unturned to make sure that we are looking at your health puzzle properly. The symptoms here are guiding us, so are the evaluations. And also the test results are very important too, whether it's the regular blood work results or the functional test results. But here I also need to point out that those test results need to be evaluated from a functional perspective, meaning that you may look all healthy based on your blood work results, and they may look all within the ranges. However, they may not be keeping you, or they may not be at a level to keep you functional and at your optimal healthy self. Usually the ranges that are in the functional area are more narrower. Based on each marker, they might be like, a little bit different. They're not right in the middle, but we need to look at them in the narrow ranges. One example would be vitamin D levels. Like, vitamin D ranges would be between 30 to 100. So if you're in between 30 to 100, you might be deemed as normal blood vitamin D levels. But for my clients, I want them to be between 50 to 70 at least. And if you want to be really preventive, really at the tip-top shape, I aim for my patients between 70 to 90 in their blood vitamin D levels. So those functional ranges are much more narrower. And also, they may signify different things based on, what they are. Some values, alkaline phosphatase in the body is a zinc-dependent enzyme. So if there is not enough zinc in the body, sometimes alkaline phosphatase is low. So based on that, we might, and together with the symptoms, we might come to a correct nutrition plan for that health condition. Again, the medications used. In the medications, there's a lot of that. There could be a lot of interactions with the nutrients, with regular supplements. People usually think that supplements are safe. However, they could be really potent, especially if they are taken in higher dosing. And also some herbs and spices can be very potent as well. So we need to make sure that they are not interacting with the medications that you are taking. So when preparing a nutrition plan, I recommend working with a professional. So all of those are checked, and your medications, when you're recommended a supplement, it is cleared for your current medications. Also, medications can lead to depletions as well. Some of the medications may deplete some of the vitamins, some of the minerals. And if that is the case, then you should be taking those either as a food or a supplement, so you don't have that depletion anymore. Sometimes I work with some of the clients that have been using certain medications for long years, and I see the symptoms caused by the depletion of that particular nutrient, whether it is coenzyme Q10 or folate. Sometimes problems can be remedied really fast when you introduce those vitamins and minerals into the nutrition plan. Also, some regular foods may cause interactions with the medications or block the absorption of the medication. One of the most well-known ones is grapefruit or grapefruit juice. I see a lot of people taking their medications in the morning with their juices. And if that is a grapefruit juice, I usually tell them, do not take them with the grapefruit juice. Put 2 hours in between your medications and your grapefruit consumption, because it may block the absorption of some medications, and grapefruit is the most common one. But pomegranate can actually interact with some of the medications and block the absorption of them. So you need to make sure that you're working with a nutrition professional when you're creating a nutrition plan for your health conditions. Also, nutrition for life stages. Each life stage require different nutrients and customized nutrition plans. A baby definitely would have a different nutritional needs than a toddler, a teenager, an adult, and maybe somebody in the later ages or the middle ages, in the 60s. 60s are the middle ages now. Or much older ages, 80s, 90s, would have much different nutrition plans. So if an adult would need less carbs in their in their life, maybe more proteins, more fats. If the parents would use the same diet for their toddler or or their teen, who need more carbs for growth, more carbs for energy, that would definitely not work for that teenager. The same thing, calcium needs differ, for the correct bone formation in the growing years. We need more calcium in the body, and we need to make sure that this calcium is absorbed properly in the body as well. Then an adult or somebody who is pregnant would have significantly different needs than somebody who is maybe 60s, 70s. So it needs to be adjusted for the life stages and also for the activity levels as well. Somebody who will be running a marathon would have significantly different nutritional needs than somebody who's more like a couch potato. I don't think that any of the viewers are, but all those nutritional plans need to be adjusted based on your life stage and your activity levels. Supplements. That is a common question that I get asked often. Do we need supplements? Does everybody need to take supplements? Well, any deficiencies is my answer. Do you have any deficiencies? Again, lab results, as I said, will say a lot of things. You can look at your vitamin D levels or certain vitamin levels. And if there is a deficiency, you can correct it. But sometimes, magnesium, it may look normal in the labs, but you may have the symptoms of the low magnesium. You might have the cramps. You might have pains, you might have relaxation issues, restless leg syndrome, all those things may signify a magnesium deficiency there, even though lab results may look normal. Because some of those minerals, it might be harder to correlate the actual body stage to the lab results, just because that the blood levels may not reflect the actual state the body is in. And also, as I said previously, some of those regular markers like alkaline phosphatase may signify a need for zinc if it is low. Health history, in your health history, is there anything that signifies a need for additional supplement? Do you have any issues in the family or in your overall health history, even though it may not show in your lab results or the symptoms are subtle? So these are all the things that we need to evaluate. And also I need to point out that for getting the correct supplements, please do not use Google or your friend or your colleague as your source for what supplements to get, because sometimes people can overdose, or getting certain supplements may block the absorption of other vitamins and minerals. So each supplement need to be recommended to you by a nutrition professional. So please do not go to the pharmacy, or do not just go and get the supplement thinking that, oh, I think I need that. You may need a different form. You may need a different dose. I do have a lot of clients coming to me oh, I tried this. It doesn't work for me. You know what? Try this in this form, in this dose. And they're like, oh, okay. Now I see. You need to be working with a nutrition professional if you want to use your supplements smartly and preventively, especially for certain health conditions. So, and also anything mentioned in this presentation should not be taken as a medical advice. These are just a recommendation for information purposes. So nothing in any of those presentations should constitute as a personalized medical advice. Does an ideal nutrition plan even exist? Well, yes, but with personalized nutrition. So nobody can tell you, oh, everybody should be eating plant-based, or everybody should be eating more animal foods. No dairy, yes dairy. No gluten, yes dairy. Just no one single ideal nutrition plan exists. But there's an ideal nutrition plan for you. So if you have a nutrition plan for your needs, for your lifestyle, that keeps you and your health at the highest level and supplies the continuous energy, that is your ideal nutrition plan. So you could have 3 friends, you could be in a friend group, and all of the friends have different nutrition plans, and they can all be healthy or unhealthy with the same nutrition plan, if that is not correct nutrition plan for you. One could be ketogenic with higher amount of fats and very low amount of carbs. The other could be paleo, no grains. The other could be vegetarian, and they could all be healthy. Or somebody could be trying their friend's ketogenic diet, but they could have gallbladder issues or no gallbladder or kidney issues, and they could be super unhealthy on a ketogenic diet. Gluten-free could be super healthy for people. Or if I had actually a client years ago who was eating a gluten-free vegetarian diet, she would start the day with gluten-free bagels. And then at lunch, she would have gluten-free pasta, and she would always have gluten-free donuts after the dinner. So, that doesn't sound a very healthy plan, right? Because gluten-free is not a diet plan. It is taking something out that is usually inflammatory. I'm usually not very fond of gluten since it's an inflammatory protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. But if your body is tolerating it, it could be a part of your meal plan along with the other healthier food options, and if you do not have any health issues otherwise. Mediterranean diet is worldwide accepted as one of the healthiest diets, but some people may need variations of the Mediterranean diet. Maybe some people need more vegetarian version. Some people may need more animal-based proteins there. Rainbow diet is more healthy because it's based on the color, and I love the rainbow diet because it brings all the plant nutrients, phytonutrients into action. So it's more on the healthier side, but it all depends on how you customize your diet, because you may have a rainbow diet and deprive your body of the fats that you might be needing or the proteins that you might be needing, or based on the rainbow diet, you may not be having enough fiber. So it might be colorful, but less fiber in the body, which may not work for you. Okay, is there any common foods? Everything is a variation, everything differs, anything common? Yes, a little, in a way. Farm fresh organic produce, yes, definitely. Lots and variety of foods. Not food. Variety of foods. Okay, I'm taking it back. Lots of variety of colors. The colors have all these health benefits from, again, phytonutrients, plant nutrients. We need a lot of and variety of them. Change the colors. Look at your plate as an art piece. If that was your art piece, which colors would you add? Is it colorful enough? Is there enough blues and reds and orange and yellow and greens and whites? Look at your plate and think of how many colors can you add. If you have kids, turn it into a game. Ask about them, how many colors can they spot on their plate? How many colors can they add on their plate with the foods around them? So that works for not only for kids, for adults too. Fresh farm foods, whether they're plant or animal foods, as long as they're from the farms, they're fresh, they're of better quality. And low processed. Some level of processing might be needed to preserve that food, but if we can keep it to the minimal, that is the healthiest. Again, either no preservatives or low amount of preservatives, and when there's preservatives, as much as possible, the natural ones, and no artificial ingredients, because all those artificial ingredients, our liver is approaching them as toxins, and liver needs to detoxify those toxins. So it's an overwork for our liver, and it actually dampens our our body's efforts to get healthier, to lose weight and everything. So lowering our artificial ingredients is one of the things that we can do to help our body to get healthier and to feel better. So how can I get the most out of the foods that I eat? There's one simple way to do that. Evaluate what you need and how your body reacts to foods. Keep a food journal. You will be amazed at the results. This is one simple tool that I use with almost all my clients. And when they write what they eat within that day, do not wait for 2 or 3 days, because you would not remember. I can assure you that you would not remember. Write that day what you're eating and how you're feeling. Okay, I had this in my breakfast and I felt really good about that. And 2 hours later, I felt really hungry. I had this as a snack, and that kept me really long for 2 more hours, as if I had a good lunch. I drank this and it actually started to give me palpitations. I felt this way, I had the gas and this. If you write down the foods and the symptoms for a week and then go back and look at all the things that you have eaten and how they impacted you, you will figure out what is working for you and what is not working for you if you do not already know that. So these are the tips for today. We will be meeting with you. I will be meeting with you regularly for the upcoming weeks. We have created this amazing series with the Global HR Summit team until the Global HR Summit on June 5th and 6th in Istanbul. So see you later. Stay functionally well.